It had been quite a journey, those last 10 years with my ex-wife. We had built a life that many would envy. We had weathered storms together and celebrated countless joys. We had 2 wonderful kids, a successful business that thrived, and the kind of partnership that people dream about. We loved each other deeply, and our connection was strong in so many ways. But there was one aspect of our relationship that had caused us both pain and frustration: our intimacy, or rather, the lack thereof. In the early days, the fire between us burned brightly. We couldn't keep our hands off each other and had sex 3 times a day at times. It was passionate, exhilarating, and felt like an essential part of our connection. But as the years went by, that fire started to flicker and fade. I didn't consider myself to have a low libido. I was often horny, and I was certainly still very attracted to her. However, something seemed to be getting in the way of our physical intimacy. I'll be the first to admit that I had let my health slide in recent years. A few extra pounds had crept in, and a pervasive sense of fatigue followed me throughout the day. She had been more than patient, understanding, and open about her needs and desires. We had numerous heartfelt conversations about our dwindling ex-life. She shared her fears and frustrations, explaining how much she longed for intimacy and connection. I made promises during those talks, vowing to work on myself and find a solution. But despite my best intentions, 6 months down the line, not much changed. It wasn't that I didn't want to have a fulfilling ex-life with her. I did. It's just that other aspects of life, the ups and downs, seemed to overshadow the importance of our physical connection at that time. Our priorities were different, and this divide had become a source of tension between us. For me, the core of our relationship remained strong, and I was convinced that we could work through that challenge. But for her, the lack of intimacy had become a pressing issue. She had reached a point of desperation, and she had put forward a proposal that had shaken me to my core: the idea of an open relationship. I was dead set against it. The mere thought had terrified me. I had been afraid that opening our relationship would change the way I felt about her, or that I wouldn't be able to handle it. I couldn't wrap my head around how seeking intimacy elsewhere could fix what was broken between us. It felt like a band-aid solution, a temporary fix that might lead to more complications. Yet I had acknowledged the pain she was going through. She had been telling me she couldn't wait any longer, that she longed for intimacy and frequent sex. She had been happy with me in every aspect of our life except the bedroom, and she didn't want to give that up. So, despite my reservations and fears, I had confronted a difficult question. Was I willing to consider this unconventional path to preserve the love and partnership we'd built together? I felt really motivated, so I decided to treat her and me to a 2-day stay at a fancy hotel on a kid-free weekend. We spent quality time together. We made love 5 times, and it had felt good for both of us. She seemed very happy. I had known I needed to improve my energy and stamina for longer-lasting intimacy, so I had started working on my health and fitness. We talked a lot and had decided not to consider an open relationship at that time. Instead, we had committed to spending at least 1 evening or day every week without the kids, focusing on getting our spark back. I came up with a fun idea to add some excitement. I wrote down 30 date night or day ideas on pieces of paper, and she picked one without looking. It was like a surprise adventure each time. I also took the initiative to check my testosterone levels, thinking it might help, and started taking supplements and changed my diet to boost my testosterone levels. I felt optimistic about addressing our issues and giving her the intimacy, sex, and desire she truly deserved. We were on a positive path forward. Everything had seemed to be going better for a few months, but then she surprised me by bringing up the open relationship idea again. It caught me off guard, because I believed we were already working on our issues. Not long after, she dropped a bombshell on me. She told me that she needed some space and admitted that she had been pretending to be happy. She wasn't trying to hurt my feelings because she could see how hard I was trying. Naturally, I was worried that she might have found someone else. I asked her if she was involved with another person, and she denied having an affair or any involvement with someone. I pressed her about whether she had someone in mind, but she was evasive. I was feeling really down and wished I could have done more to make her happy. She mentioned that it might be possible for us to get back together, but stressed that she needed some time and space. She didn't want our family members and friends to know about this, as it would have complicated things if we wanted to reconcile. I asked her how much time she needed, and she said about a month. It was a tough pill to swallow, but I reluctantly agreed. We worked out the logistics of how we would share our responsibilities as parents during that time. She left on a Tuesday to stay at a hotel. I wanted to talk to my close friend and get his opinion on everything. We promised not to share our situation with our friends, but I needed a second perspective. So I called my close friend and explained that she wanted to separate for about a month, and how she had previously suggested an open relationship despite all the efforts I had put into improving our sex life. My friend then made a statement that hit me hard. He suggested that it was possible that she might have already had a partner she was seeing, and this separation might have been a sort of trial run to spend more time with this person. It was a painful thought, but it made some sense. He encouraged me to hire a private investigator to follow her. Since I noticed a hotel charge on my credit card statement, it confirmed where she was staying. I reached out to a private investigator, and we arranged for them to start surveillance on her the following Monday. On that Friday, my friend urged me to go to a bar and start thinking about an exit plan. He believed it might be a good idea for me to consider getting back into the dating scene because he thought she might have already left me. It was a tough pill to swallow at that moment and hard for me to accept. I was unsure about going out that night, but I needed a way to stop the constant thoughts about her possibly having an affair. So I arranged for a babysitter on that Friday to look after our kids while I went out with my friend. We had been having a good time at the corner of the bar, trying to enjoy ourselves. That's when I saw something I couldn't believe. It was an unmistakable sight. She was on a date with another man, or at least that's what it looked like to me. I notified my friend, and he was just as surprised as how it validated his suspicions. I remembered him saying I could save money on the private investigator now. Then, in a strange twist of fate, our eyes locked. She looked embarrassed and couldn't stop glancing down. My anger had been boiling, and I wanted to confront them both, but my friend advised me to stay calm. He suggested we get some shots at the bar to help me distract myself from the betrayal. But then, something unexpected occurred while my friend and I were at the bar. The man she was on a date with came over to order a drink, and he seemed to know the situation between her and I. Surprisingly, he recognized me, even though it was the first time I have seen him. He apologized for the awkwardness, and I responded, "Yeah, it's just strange because we separated about 3 days ago, and she told me she wasn't seeing anyone else. I'm shocked to find her with someone." He paused for a moment and then said, "A few days? Separation. She and I have been seeing each other for about 5 months now." We locked eyes for a moment in shock, and then she rushed over to pull him away from me. He shrugged her off and told her to go away before leaving the bar. That's how I discovered that my wife of 10 years had been cheating on me. She had been seeing another guy even before she suggested we start an open relationship months earlier, and agreed that it wasn't the right path for us. When he left the bar, my friend and I stared at her for a few seconds as she frowned at us and immediately ran after him. I felt a deep sense of embarrassment and heartbreak. "She's made her choice," my friend said. We had gotten so drunk that night that we had to leave our cars behind and take an Uber home. I was overwhelmed with emotions, and I realized that any chance of reconciliation vanished. I cried all night, The next morning, she called and left a voicemail, apologizing for how I found out, and admitting that she had been lying to me for months. The day after, I went fishing with my kids and my friend. He asked me what I wanted to do, and I told him I was going to get a divorce. My kids, aged 7 and 9, too young to understand what divorce meant, so I decided to wait until things calmed down before telling them anything. We explained that Mom went on a vacation, but soon I would have to tell them that she wouldn't be coming back. Then, the following Monday, she changed her mind and said she wanted to work on our relationship. Although it's been somewhat comforting to hear, it boosted my self-esteem. But I knew I couldn't forgive myself if I accepted her back after all that had happened. I told her that I had given my all to our marriage, but she still betrayed me for months. Despite all the effort I put into making it work, she had been leading a double life, deceiving me. When I expressed that I didn't want to continue with our marriage, she tried to shift the blame onto me, making it seem like I was the reason our family was falling apart. She went to her family members and told them that I called off the marriage after she asked for a temporary separation, claiming I was smothering her. She also tried to get ahead of me by lying to my family members, but it backfired when I set the record straight. I decided to file for a divorce, and we entered into mediation to sort out our assets and determine custody arrangements. A few months after I filed for a divorce, I started going out more, meeting new people, and hitting the gym. I expanded my social life significantly because I didn't have her anymore. I shared custody of my kids with her and had made enough time and money to socialize. It's funny how life works. I ran into the other guy at a bar, and we had a conversation about our shared experience. It felt strange hearing about it from his perspective. He had initially thought that she was just a bit flaky, but after talking to me, everything clicked for him. We reminisced about the times when he couldn't reach her because she was with me, and vice versa. I still couldn't believe I hadn't picked up on it sooner. Anyway, I'm happily married now, and she has primary custody of our kids as a single mom. I'm completely fine with paying child support since she moved in with her mom to save money. She tried dating, but she kept meeting men who were not interested in anything serious, just some fun. Our past relationship was perfect, and she told me several times how much she regretted cheating on me. I found some comfort in hearing that.